Hey, all you bone thugs in harmony. I'm Dale Rodman Jr. III, and this is Slow to Pro, a YouTube series where I go from slow to a little less slow this session. I'm pretty excited about this race today. It's part of the Rookies series on Low Fuel Motorsport. If you haven't heard about Low Fuel Motorsport, or LFM for short, it's a website where you create a profile, connect it to your Steam, follow all the directions, and read their guidelines. And then you have to do a hot stint license test where you have to do 7 valid laps under a certain time. And all of it is automated. It's pretty awesome. It's basically iRacing, but for Assetto Corsa Competizione. Every week there's a track in rotation. You can race as often as you'd like, with races about every hour. The better you do, the higher you rank. The higher the rank, the more points you get, which I don't fully understand yet, but it's all pretty cool. It seems legitimate, and I think if you race like a moron, they just ban you. So that's pretty neat. So the race we're about to watch was my very first ever race on LFM. We're at Donington Park for I think it's just a 20-minute race, and we're starting in P14, and here we go for the green.
Green light, go, go, go.
I was a little bit terrified to start on the outside, headed into turn 1, until I realized that whoever was supposed to have the inside line must have either quit or lost connection. So we have a relatively stress-free turn 1, which allows us to keep a nice gap to the black McLaren and basically settle into the race right after turn 1. I can't ask for an easier, more stress-free start to a race than that, quite honestly. As we come through the exit of turn 4, Old Hairpin, we got our first rookie doing rookie things off on the right-hand side of turn 5. I was really nervous that he was going to come flying back onto the circuit and hit me, but I was not about to let off the throttle to avoid it. Gang, gang. We've got quite the line of cars in front of us headed into turns 7 and 8, which is very, very hard to master to get a perfect exit. So I was expecting to see some shaking up happening as we went down the straight, but I wasn't expecting to see this kind of shaking up. That wasn't. Everybody's gone crazy. Everybody lost their mind trying to gain a position. This psychopath just had the save of the century on the left-hand side. I almost think we should look at it from another angle. So the Mercedes has a great run on the McLaren, but seeing as we're in rookies class, the McLaren doesn't adjust its braking point. But Mr. Mercedes is being piloted by the Drift King himself, Kenny Black Boy. Just another day in the office. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. I do a minimum of 1 video a week where I mostly make fun of my own incompetence. And while we wait for some action, since recording this video, I've done 6 more races for a total of 7. And after you do 5, you graduate out of rookies, get your iron license, as long as your safety rating is above the lower limit, which is going to be 4.0 going forward. I started my rookie license with a 4.5 since my Kunos safety rating was already a 99. And in the 7 total races I've done, I've made contact with another car in at least 6 of those races. I've hit a few walls. Yeah, I've done all the rookie things there are to do, and my safety rating has gone up to a 5.42. Basically, the things that hurt your LFM safety rating are any contact with another car at all, and any contact with a wall that's hard enough to do damage to your car, and of course track cuts. As long as you avoid doing those 3 things, which I do a pretty good job of for the most part, you're not going to have anything to worry about as far as your safety rating is concerned. It will go up and continue to go up even if you have a lap 1 racket. It won't be a big deal. And the other big rating that LFM uses is ELO, which originated in competitive chess. It's just a way to rank people, and how it works is pretty simple, but also kind of complex at the same time. After you register for a race, everyone is assigned a car number based on your ELO rank in that race. So every person you finish ahead of, you take a little bit of their ELO, and everyone ahead of you takes a little bit of yours. So if you're the top ranked car in the lobby, car number 1, and you finish dead last, you're gonna lose a lot of ELO. But if you're the lowest ranked car and you finish last, you're not going to lose very much at all. So it's a cool way to keep it semi-balanced for the most part. And the heavy emphasis on clean driving really keeps the races fun after you get out of the rookie series. So we are right up on the tail of this red Ferrari now. He's going to take a bad line through this next turn, and I'm going to try to have a peek up the outside coming through. I think it's turn 5 here, but I'm going to think better of it because ultimately I do not trust the driver of that Ferrari. Not even a little bit. Alright, so here we're gonna go ahead and fast forward just a little bit here until we get to the next bit of action where the Mercedes and that red Ferrari begin to battle for position. So here we are headed into the final 2 turns of lap 4, and the Ferrari is gonna go ahead and make the inside move, and the Mercedes is basically gonna say, hey, I don't like what you just did there. I don't like the way that made me feel. And he's going to instantly plot his revenge for the next turn. And he's going to take a shot at the inside. And the Ferrari's going to say, hold on 1 second here, buddy. I'm taking the inside line on turn 1. These cool cats are side by side down the straight. And the Mercedes is like, oh no you don't. Oh no you don't. Oh no. Oh yeah you do. I've lost it. I'm in the dirt. And Dale gets free position. So after all the wrecking that these rookies have done so far, we've gone from P14 at the start to P9 by the start of the 5th lap by simply, well, for lack of a better word, not being a jerk off. And we're gonna go ahead and fast forward, and while we do, I'll explain my last comment. If you don't have the skills to run, within 1 or 2% of alien level times, you probably shouldn't be sticking your car into super high risk positions very often, if you can avoid it. Basically, don't be a jerk off, because when you're a jerk off and don't have the skill to back it up, you look like these 2 clowns in the second to last turn, right here as we finish. One of them ends up off track on the outside, and then we come around the hairpin and we meet this limping Ferrari. And it's actually a McLaren, and I'm leaving that mistake in so you all know how stupid I actually am. And final turn of lap 6, and we're gonna go down the start-finish straight, close enough that I have to brake early here for turn 1. So instead of braking after the paint, I'm gonna brake on the paint, create a gap, modulate my brakes, and there we go. We're going to close that gap. And up here is the epitome of a rookie rejoin. From the right, he just sweeps the Ferrari right out of the way. And that's 2 free positions to put us all the way up into, I think, P6, if the HUD is to be believed. I don't actually, it's saying P7 at the moment. I'm not sure. I think that was P6 right there, though. But we're going to go ahead and fast forward again until the last bit of action. Basically, for the remainder of the race, I tried to keep up with this McLaren best I could, but he was building a tiny bit of gap lap by lap. And there's a Porsche that gets behind me that starts applying some really great pressure. I began to trust him, and then I think I slowed down a bit too much when I took a bad line through the second to last hairpin. And he ends up bumping me from behind, and it might sound like it's his fault because, ultimately it might technically be. But in my opinion, it was me that did something unexpected. I grabbed a little bit of extra brake pedal, and so let's finish fast forward and you'll see what I mean. Headed into the second to last turn, I think I went a little deep there, and instead of just holding my speed on the outside line, I deliberately tried to grab some extra brake to swing the front of the car around, and unfortunately that cut the line of the gentleman behind me, and I got bumped in the rear. As I said, I think it's my fault. And just a teeny tiny bit of fast forwarding will show you how we ended up with P4. Nothing fancy, but hey, we'll take it. So the McLaren doesn't get all the braking done in time, runs it a bit wide into the slippery stuff, and then sends his English supercar screaming in the direction that you probably don't want to be going in. But that will secure us P4 for the end of the race. The gentleman behind us will not be able to get close enough to try any moves here in the final chicane or the final hairpins, and and I am not about to lose focus on the last lap of my first race on low fuel motorsport. I was pretty amped up, so I was in the zone, looking at every braking point, looking my way through every turn, and I was not about to lose it in the final two. So we went from P14 all the way up to P4, and that's all the action for today. I'll probably have another one of these videos next week as well. So we'll be out of rookies for that. Should be even better racing. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching. I'm Dale Robin Jr. III. You guys have the kind of day you want to have.